All right, there we go. We are live on UGTV. Or sorry, YouTube. We're about to start UGTV in about a minute and a half.
Thanks, Moran.
We're live on UGTV.
Kansas City, Kansas. Stay up to date. This is
Okay, Rocky, it looks like it's after 5 o'clock. I think we have all the members of our committee here. Yes, we do. So we'll go ahead and before I call the meeting of the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee to order, I do want to announce that due to COVID-19, the committee members, staff, and the public are all attending remotely via Zoom or by phone. All participants joining by computer or by phone should mute their devices when they are not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time that you speak so that the public observing knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and is our current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. Due to COVID-19 requirements, public comment has been suspended unless otherwise required by law. The public has been allowed to submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting if so submitted. With that, we'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Roll call: Walters.
here.
Johnson.
Here.
Townsend.
Here.
Burrows.
Here.
McKiernan.
Here. I do not believe there have been any revisions to our agenda since it was originally published. And so that brings us to approval of our standing committee minutes from June 1st of 2020.
Johnson move for approval.
Second.
We've got Commissioner Johnson moved to approve, and I believe Commissioner Burrows had a second on that. And at this point, what we could do is that silence will be assent. And so I'm going to ask if all those who are in favor of this item to please remain quiet. And if you would not want these minutes to be approved as submitted, then in that case, you may make your objection known. So at this point, we'll have an assent vote on approving the minutes from June 1st, 2020. Silence is assent. We will consider those minutes approved as submitted. And that takes us to our committee agenda. The first item on our committee agenda is a memorandum of understanding regarding the Quindaro Ruins project. And at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Commissioner Townsend because I do believe that she has an action she would like us to take as a committee on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, all. Item 1 is an MOU, a memorandum of understanding between Western University AME Church and the Unified Government, the purpose of which is to form a legal entity, a trust, to move forward and seek opportunities for such as funding to get the Quindara Ruins project moving. Part of that MOU is the attachment, which is a map which broadly defines some areas. I'm asking that this item be tabled so that the map can be more specifically detailed to include streets and specific landmarks. In the last several months, we've had quite a bit of activity out in that area near the ruins for one thing or another with planning and zoning. I'm sure you all may recall, and I think it's imperative that when the public looks at this map, they will be able to more specifically identify landmarks and streets so that all of us know when it comes to applications in this area, how close we are to what is being defined as the ruins area. Mr. Assistant Administrator Criswell, Assistant County Administrator Criswell, and Mr. Chris Cooley and I will be working on the detailed map, which I believe will be presented at the board meeting on August the 27th. So it's just the detail in the map that I think needs to be upgraded. And that's why I'm asking for the tabling of this item. Otherwise, I would be in favor of the MOU as it reads.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the motion that Commissioner Townsend has made is that we table this item until the supplementary materials, the supporting documents, are more fully detailed. Is there a second?
Walters, I'll second that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's been a motion and a second to table this and bring it back at a later date. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chair, will that be at the August 31st date?
I'm going to double check with Commissioner Townsend because I believe she said it was the August 27th.
That's correct. We don't have a NCD meeting on that day. Our next NCD meeting will be on August the 31st.
I will
Yeah.
clarify this because I do believe it's going to come back to full commission on August 27th as a part of full commission. Am I correct, Commissioner Townsend?
That is my understanding, Mr. Chairman.
So this will be tabled and brought back to full commission on Thursday, August 27th for consideration.
Correct.
Thank
Roll
you.
call. Roll
Yes,
call.
please.
Walters,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you so much. We will deal with that on the 27th. That takes us to our second item, which is a single land bank application. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn the meeting over to Judd Knapp, who is our current land bank manager.
All right, there we go. Can you hear me now?
We absolutely
Oh.
can. And if you go ahead and just run your PowerPoint, it'll go full screen for us.
Yeah.
Swap your views, please. We have the presenter view instead of the full screen view.
Okay. How do I do that? How do I do that?
After you run it, go ahead and run it again.
All right, there's two, and then let me get it up here. Oh my goodness. Two screens is giving me the fits today. I'm sorry.
Okay. We're seeing your email now.
Oh, let's see here.
So what you want to do is just, there you go. You have shared Now, if you just run the presentation, now you should see kind of to your upper left of the screen, an option that says swap.
All right. So are you seeing?
No, we're still seeing what is the presenter's view, where we have the thumbnail of the upcoming.
How do I swap? I'm sorry, guys.
Display settings, does that do anything?
I tell you what, I think we're fine as it is. We can see your display slide to the left of our screen. So at this point, let's just go ahead and move forward with this item.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that.
We're okay.
All right. So we have 3 items on for tonight. Requesting approval for 1 application. We're going to go over some option agreements and the rehab program update. The first application we have is for 2725 Farrell Avenue. It is a vacant lot next to a current rehab home. The rehabber is rehabbing it and is requesting the lot next to it to build a deck and a driveway for the new rehab. As you can see on the map, that's the arrow where the current home is being rehabbed, and then the lot next to it is the proposed lot for the deck and the driveway. The Land Bank Advisory Board, the neighborhood group, and the staff advisory team have no objections. Do I have any questions before we vote?
Does the committee have any questions or any comments for Mr. Knapp?
This is Commissioner Townsend.
Yes, ma'am.
The item that we're looking at is that's just a representation of the desired driveway and deck.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Move to approve.
Second, Walters.
We have a motion to approve and a second by Commissioner Walters. Any further discussion from the committee? Roll call, please.
Roll call: Walters,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Mr. Knapp, you just solved the problem. We've got us in full screen mode. Well done.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. So that concludes that one item. Now it's for the information only. Talking about the option agreement is the next agenda item. And I'm going to go over why we are using option agreements. All right, so in the land bank, we have a few goals: to develop vacant lots and ensure development occurs. The option agreement is really useful in the ensure that development occurs. The best laid plans often go awry. How often do our original plans look like the final outcome? When I built my home, my plans also drastically changed. I found out it's very expensive to run utilities into a middle of a field, so I moved my home location. So my home build definitely looks like this crazy lines of ups and downs. It did not match my original plan. So how does this work with land bank lots? We've brainstormed and identified the steps that causes our plans to change. So like the plans there, maybe the lot's too small. The estimate cost, this is what caused my plans to change. When I seen how much it was to build a new home, I started looking for other houses that were already built. And then financing, can I get that construction loan? So the process for the option is would help the person identify a lot that would suit them. And then we would sign an option agreement that's basically telling them that I will hold that lot for 1 year while you do this due diligence process. Like find a builder, get your plans together, estimate your costs and financing. And when you have all that completed and almost ready to build, we will deed you the property so you can start building. The key to the option is we aren't deeding the property at this line to the person so they can go through this process. And then maybe they decide they don't want to build. And then what happens to that lot then? I mean, do they stop paying their taxes, stop maintaining it? But as they walk away from their building. So the option basically lets them do this part without actually owning the property. And then they complete this step, and then we deed them the property and they start building. So it's a way that we ensure that development happens. So our option agreement since July 1st, the ones that have signed, we have 11 single family homes. We have 3 duplexes, 3 garages, and 3 commercial buildings. And then estimated appraised value for just those option agreements is 2.8 million after they get built. And
This is Catherine. I want to just jump in here for a second. So I just want to make sure, this is not something that we have brought to you all in the past. But as Judd kind of laid out what the process is, we feel like it is, imperative that we give this committee a heads up on kind of what is coming down the road. One of the things, these are just since July 1st, and I would say that this is probably more options, more interest in infill development and people wanting to build a new home. These are all new builds. So this is all looking at vacant property. And I think we've had more interest in the last, month, just over a month, than we have probably in the last year. So it's exciting. It's, trying to get some of, we've done a great job on the rehab, and Judd will give, another couple amazing examples of that in a second, but, really trying to push forward into having our kind of collective stable of rehabbers move into new build and infill homes is really exciting. And you can see, going from land that has not paid any taxes in many instances for quite a long time to a potential estimated appraised value in a year or two when everything is built to almost $3 million is pretty significant. So we think this is just the beginning.
And so does that conclude this part of the presentation?
I still have the rehab update, but that's
Okay, but
correct.
let's stop here for just a moment, and because I had not seen these materials in the agenda, so I'm interested to see these. Now, does this effectively replace what has been our standard procedure in that historically in the past, it seems like we've had somebody could acquire a property from land bank and we made them promise that they were going to, within a year, develop that property or it would come back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Do I understand that what we're doing now is that we're holding the property, they have the option to it. If they have the capacity to move forward within a year, it's all good. It's all already taken care of. If they don't,
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So this is just kind of giving you an overview of kind of what's coming, so that all of these properties, once we get to the property deeded point, that will come back to you, and each of those properties will get approval from this committee to actually be transferred.
Okay, that's good to know. That's great information. Does any other member of the committee have questions or comments, either for Ms. Carter or Mr. Knapp? Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad, Mr. Chairman, that you made the comment, because I thought I had missed something in the packet. I think I may have had more questions if I had seen kind of a written summation of what this is about, really. So, and it's not too late for that, I mean, today. So if there's some written, I don't want to say proposal, but summation of what this was about, so I could more clearly understand what is changing here with this? That's the bottom line for me. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I would absolutely endorse that if we could get a copy of these slides as well as any written summary of the process and how it's changing from our current process, that would be marvelous. Anybody else from the committee have comments or questions? All righty, I don't see anybody else's hand up. So since this is for information only, you'll just provide us a little bit of additional information after the meeting, and then we'll wait for you to bring it back at some point in the future. Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Knapp, I believe you have a rehab update for us.
I do. Very exciting one. Today we showed our open houses for 11 houses on July 21st and July 22nd. There's the map of all the locations of the houses we showed. I have to legal removed one house and so I had 10 remaining that we could sell, and we sold all 10 for a winning bid total of 121,000. So that was the house on 1713 North 43rd Street had 12 offers on it. That was a very popular one. So that was a very good showing, and I currently don't have any houses left for the rehab program. They're all taken by rehabbers. All right. So then we go into our completed rehabs. This is a rehab by J.C. Keys. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath, 884 square feet. The appraised value at the tax sale was $18,000. And I talked to J.C. Keys today, and he said he's expecting to sell it between $80,000 and $100,000. So there's some before and after pictures. And that's, the new kitchen was like amazingly like put together. He definitely used some upgraded materials in there. All right, so then we have another completed rehab at 631 Freeman Avenue. The rehabber was Bright Solutions. It's a 4-bed, 4-bath house. It's 2,200 square feet. Its appraised value at tax sale was $7,500. And he actually already sold this house for $230,000. So we get some before and after shots.
And 230,000 is about twice as much as any other rehabbed house we've sold. So this is pretty exciting. I think we had one other that hit 200, but.
Yeah. So this house was like completely gutted from the inside, and he just went through, and it's really an amazing house. This is actually the upstairs. It's like the third floor, and this room is huge, and there's actually a bathroom up here also. And these are just 2 bathrooms that they have, because I didn't really have a before picture of a bathroom because the house was gutted. So, and that is my presentation.
Thank you so much for that. Does any member of the committee have comments or questions for Mr. Knapp? I don't see any hands up, so we will just thank you for your continued work and ask you to just keep moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Absolutely. That does conclude our committee agenda for the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee. There are no other items on this agenda, so we are adjourned as Neighborhood and Community Development, and I will turn it over to Commissioner Burrows for Economic Development and Finance.
Thank you, Commissioner McKiernan. I do want to ensure that Jeff Bryan has joined us.
I'm here.
Great, thank you. Before we get started, I too before we call the meeting to order, I want to announce that due to COVID-19, the committee members, staff, and the public are attending remotely via Zoom or by phone. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak so the public that is observing knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and its current guidelines from the Kansas Attorney General. And due to the COVID-19 requirements, public comment has been suspended unless otherwise required by law. The public has been allowed to submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting. At this particular time, I will now call the meeting of the Economic Development and Finance Standing Committee to order. I want to welcome everyone this evening to the meeting. And at this time, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Roll call: Bryant,
Here.
Walters,
Here.
Johnson. Commissioner Johnson,
Here. Here.
Townsend,
Here.
McKiernan,
Here.
Burrows.
Here. And much like the first meeting, we have no minutes to consider tonight. So we'll move to the committee agenda. On the committee agenda this evening, we have 5 items to consider. Every one of them are action items. So with that, we'll start with item 1, which is the purchasing agreement with Rodriguez Mechanical. And I'll ask Catherine Carter to present this item. Catherine, at your convenience.
Thank you very much. All right. Can everyone see that and hear me? Wonderful. All right, so the first item we have today is a purchase agreement for 3 UG-owned parcels on 18th Street Expressway to Rodriguez Mechanical. Paul Rodriguez is here, I believe, so he will kind of pipe in if I misstate anything and give a comment here later and be available for questions. But I want to kind of go over, a couple things about the company and these 3 parcels in question. So I think many of you know Rodriguez Mechanical is a valued and long-term member of our KCK community. They've been in KCK. They moved here in 1993 from Johnson County with just 20 employees. And today they've got just around 140. They've been located in Armourdale the last many years. And they are just in the last year purchased a property at 1900 Osage for an expansion. There are 3 very small parcels that are UG owned that are just adjacent to the property at 1900 Osage, where they will have kind of their primary location. The 3 parcels, it's kind of interesting, and I have a map here in a second, which you'll be able to see this more clearly, but they are located between the highway and a railroad. So it's kind of this interesting no man's land that is, has not been used for anything. I could go back into the records as far back as the 80s, and these have always, at least as far as that time, they have been UG owned and not actually used really for anything. So, so trying to get this small amount of land, it's about 1.68 acres, putting it back into productive use would be, I think, something that we would desire. Since it's been almost 40 years and probably more than that. They're parcels that have that are unlikely to develop otherwise, as they don't have utility connections. I think one of them is connected to water, and then the rest are not connected to sewer water. And in some cases, I think one isn't even connected to electric. So you can tell there's a number of reasons why these are unlikely to develop otherwise. Here you can see the parcel here that is circled in red. That's 1900 Osage. That's where they will have their primary location. And the 3 parcels that are UG owned and in question are these here in blue. So you can see here, you're kind of in between. This is 18th Street Expressway, if you can see my cursor. And then this here on the west side is a railroad spur. So this is kind of an interesting land that is difficult to do much with. You do have the old power plant right here I have spoken with BPU as well as our Public Works, and neither see any use moving forward for these three parcels. And in looking to determine what a reasonable purchase price for these are, we looked at other land bank lots. You've got one just across the river here, very similar type of property that's almost twice as, or more than twice the size, and appraised for just about $1,000. Mr. Rodriguez has offered $3,000 for these lots, and that is what you see in your packet today. That's all I have. If Mr. Rodriguez, if you are on the line and would like to comment, or are there any questions from the committee?
Can you hear me, Catherine?
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Another reason why I want to secure the property is that, I'm not against homeless people, but there's some homeless people that I want to say I'm told from the security from the other surrounding buildings that they're devil worshippers. I don't know what the heck's going on, but they have broken into the building at 1900 Osage, and we've captured them on camera going in, but there's really not, I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want them to stay out. So my thinking, in addition to what Catherine spoke about, was that if I was able to secure the property and then begin to clear it off, the grass and weeds and overgrown brush is approximately 4 to 5 feet tall. It was BPU property. I did a little research as well, and I think even in the 40s, the BPU really had that whole area, and you can still see some gravel where they used it as a parking lot. That's that long stretch between Kansas Avenue and 18th Street Expressway. Then on Osage, closest to the building sign and my building, it's either a BPU power. I think it was, because there's a bunch of metal power poles that are there and some water main. That's where they stored water main and pipe. In fact, they still have the concrete, kind of like shelves where you can drive up with a pallet, with a forklift, and drop the pipe without setting it on the ground. So I know that the 5 acres is a better deal, but from a functionality standpoint, I'm better off right there. The area has no sewer. That largest piece, the largest lot, has no sewer, water, or gas. They have no water taps on either side. Nothing is connected to the water line. The closest sewer is approximately 2 blocks to the east, and you'd have to cross railroad tracks to get there. So it'd be quite expensive to develop that piece. It's just almost impossible from a cost standpoint. Other than that, I do know that I will clear the land, use it for parking, storage, and heavy equipment. And hopefully, just by doing that, that'll stop some of the dumping that's occurring along Miami Street and underneath 18th Street Expressway, that bridge. So I guess, thank you for the opportunity to even present and to make a request for the property. And I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioner McKiernan has his hand up.
Mr. McKiernan.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrows. Mr. Rodriguez, we've certainly appreciated having you as a member of the Armourdale community for all these years. I am familiar with these 3 properties that you are considering here, and I think we would win on multiple fronts if you were to acquire and clear them. We'd get the purchase price of the properties, we'd get the clearing of the properties, we'd have enhanced security for those and for the surrounding properties, and they'd be back on the tax rolls, bringing in property tax on an annual basis. So, Mr. Chair, if there's no objection, I'd like to move that we approve this item as submitted.
Walters, second.
Okay. Before we do that, we do have an opportunity. Does anyone from the public send any information, any questions, comments?
No one submitted any request.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. I'll ask clerk, please call roll.
Roll call Bryant,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 2 is the Skinnell Properties for the Woodlands, which is a
Hey,
purchase
Commissioner,
agreement.
can I ask, can I make a comment, please? I know I'm out of order.
Yeah, Mr. Rodriguez, your item has been approved, but if you care to speak, please make it
Well,
brief.
I'll leave after my comment. I wanted, Mr. Burrows, I don't know if you remember me, but
I do.
I was the chair of the Kansas City, Kansas Chamber of Commerce in the year 2000. And I had the opportunity to listen in to your last committee meeting. And I want to tell you how wonderful it is, because in the year 2000, we had to raise money to do with Wyandotte Development Inc. And tried to do something about just the way Kansas City, Kansas was perceived, and also when you speak about building up and permit opportunities. In the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken, there were no more than 3 to 6 housing or building permits, and that was an average that had gone for years because there was a flight that occurred leaving Kansas City and Wyandotte County. And I just want to commend all of you for the work and the progress that you have made. Those numbers are just tremendous that you just produced. And I'll leave that with a thank you.
Well, thank you for your kind words, Mr. Rodriguez. Those that have served before us and those that will serve long after us, if we set a strong path, they should follow it. And we have accomplished a great deal in Wyandotte County. We're very proud of our community. We embrace our diversity, and those are the assets that we hold very dear and are very valuable to our community. But thank you for your kind comment. And again, we welcome you to enjoy your newfound properties, and thank you for assisting us in dealing with some of our vacated properties. Okay, committee item number 2, I'm going to ask our vice chair, Commissioner McKiernan, to I'm going to defer to Mr. McKiernan. As chair, I have the liberty to do that. I had a conflict of interest on this vote earlier on in another discussion. So I'm going to defer to Mr. McKiernan and ask Mr. McKiernan to please run item number 2. Mr.
Absolutely.
McKiernan, be so kind to do so.
Absolutely, Commissioner. I will take over for item number 2. And actually, when I looked over to see if Mr. Rodriguez was in the attendee list, I see that Commissioner Bynum was in the list immediately above him. And I wonder if legal counsel could opine on this. Is it possible that Commissioner Bynum could simply sit in Commissioner Burrows' place as another at-large commissioner for this item only?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if Commissioner Burrows appoints her, so if you would wish to do that on the record.
I do, ladies and gentlemen, full disclosure, I do have a conflict of interest with this issue, having stated such earlier on in earlier meetings. At this time, I would ask Commissioner Bynum to please assume my position on this particular item number 2.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I do see that Commissioner Bynum has now joined us on the panelists list. So Rocky has promoted her to a panelist. And at this point, this is the consideration of a purchase agreement for Skinnell Properties to buy 34 acres of UG-owned land. And I'm going to turn this back to Catherine Carter for presentation on this item.
Thank you very much, Catherine Carter, Economic Development. I also have with me Sean Kofer from Skinnell Properties, who can jump in as necessary or to answer questions at the end. This is one that I did go over a longer presentation last month at Economic Development and Finance Committee. in preparation, knowing that this was coming up. And so I will do a somewhat slightly more brief presentation, but a reminder for those of you in the audience who did not listen last week to exactly what we're dealing with. But what this is very specifically looking at is a purchase agreement for the 34 acres at 99th and Leavenworth that the unified government owns, that we would sell to Skinnell Properties as part of their Woodlands development. So just a quick reminder for those who have aren't familiar with the project. This is the Woodlands. It's been closed for 15-ish years. It's about 400 acres in total. And Skinnell Properties is interested and has an agreement to purchase the vast majority of this land, which is owned by a private company. And I will go and explain where the acreage that we own and is in question today is. But the part of this is also in the purchase agreement that there's 94 acres of land, and you can see here the area that is not developed. It has not been developed, and moving forward, Skinnell Properties would like it to remain undeveloped and remain a buffer from the development that they are proposing. This would be donated to the Parks Department. The Parks Department is very excited about having additional space for trails. You've got a shelter right here, Shelter 2, right on Wyandotte County Lake. This would be the way that you would access this. And just kind of a update since the last time we discussed this in this committee, the Planning Commission and the full commission have approved the master plan and the rezoning for this project. So the items that we're really focused on are the area here at 99th and Leavenworth, which much of that acreage will be is proposed to be neighborhood retail. And then here are the 94 acres on the east side. That will be the buffer between the development and the lake, as well as some of the other homes and other things on the east side. This project, just we're purely looking here at kind of an overview of the different pieces. But if we're just looking at kind of this first phase that has gone through Planning Commission and is moving forward, this is Building A. That's kind of what's in will be the first phase of this larger development. So that'll be about 100 acres. And then we're looking at 94 for parkland and over 200 would be still available for future development. So today, just to give kind of an idea of magnitude, today it's just under $400,000 in taxes for this 414 or 15 acres. And once Building A is complete, we're looking at well over $2 million just with the land, and then, just with the building, and then another additional amount with the land. Then the acreage that would be part of the purchase agreement, the 34 acres, would be a purchase price of over $2 million. So $2,031,000. And here is that location, as you can see there. And with that, Sean is on the line, and if the committee has any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. I appreciate the presentation. At this time, I'd ask if any member of the committee has any comments or any questions for Ms. Carter or for Mr. Cover. I don't see any questions coming up from the committee, so I'll ask the clerk, were there any public submissions to be included in the record on this item?
There was a request for Lori Torres to speak, Mr. Chair.
The rules of the meeting that we stated ahead of time said that public comment has been suspended, but that email comments can be read into the record. Is that the way we're going, or are we allowing public comment?
I received a request from Lori and from Adrian Torres. I can just put that on the record that they submitted a request.
I'm going to defer to our legal counsel on this. I have no problem with public comment, but that is not the way we opened the meeting. And so I just want to get clarification on if that's how we proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I think that is at your discretion. That is correct. The rules that we've gone by have stated that public comment is not required. In the past, I know we have allowed some public comment during these standing committees, but it is not legally required.
All right, then what I'm going to do at this time is, because Ms. Torres did request in advance of the meeting to be allowed to speak, Rocky, if you could find Ms. Torres in the attendee list and permit her to talk. Ms. Torres, I will turn the floor over to you. I do believe that yes, you are allowed to speak now, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments to the committee. And at this point, your hand is up, but you're still muted. Perfect. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, great.
Yes.
Lori Torres, 9828 Donahue Road, KCK. I would like to know if there was appraisal done on this, and if not, why wasn't there an appraisal done on this? I don't think that Mr. Ruffin should set the price at $1.36 a square foot. Western Wyandotte County commercial is running $3 to $4 a square foot, and I think the school district has the benefit of that, those personal property taxes off of that. And I think you need to get an appraisal on this acreage. I don't think we should let Mr. Ruffin set the price on it. And I don't think comparison to Indian Springs property is right. That's in town, we're out west. Commercial, this land was deemed commercial, and you're comparing commercial to agriculture, which commercial sells for way more. Why are we for the same price as agriculture land? And I'd like to have an appraisal done on it by a certified appraiser, not by just somebody saying, well, we got this much for Indian Springs, and this sounds pretty good for that. That is not an appraisal. That does not cut it. I don't know. I don't understand why there was not an appraisal done on this. I think Piper deserves an appraisal and the most they can get for the land. And that's the end of it. And my husband would like to speak. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna put him on. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Adrian Torres, 9828 Donahue Road. Thank you for allowing us to speak. Obviously, you know that we both are in opposition to this situation. You know, at the end of this, it makes me feel that some of the interactions with citizens were somewhat disingenuous. I heard some comments that are really kind of hurtful. And I really realize that the city is in a position that we need to have tax dollars. But to know that this was pushed through, and I get the impression that it was already accepted prior to being presented to the citizens. During the committee meeting, Commissioner Bonham had made the statement that she had only been contacted by 3 people in opposition, but I attended a meeting that only 3 people were for that situation and the majority of the room was against. So it kind of hurt my feelings that those people that spoke that night would be ignored. And I would suspect that in the future, I guess I need to put everything in an email to be able to be heard. So I guess because of the situation, my neighborhood becomes a sacrificial lamb. we'll have to live with this, folks. So I know that you made the best decision that you possibly could, but please next time listen to the citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Torres, for those comments. We will now close public comment period since there was no one else who requested ahead of time. And at this point, I'd ask if any member of the committee has questions or comments for either Ms. Carter or Mr. Kofer. Mr. Bryant.
So in regards to the comment from the previous visitors, was there an appraisal done, and what were the results of the appraisal in comparison to other undeveloped land?
Thanks. There was, the unified government did not have an appraisal, an independent appraisal done. We do have, this land has been appraised by our own appraisal department, which was a bit, it was about 2.8 as I recall. But what we determined was that linking the purchase price to the same rate that Mr. Ruffin was selling his land for made a lot of sense, especially since we received this property in a tax sale. And so we basically received it completely for free, and then have not actually put any investment into it over the years that we have owned it. Felt that that was a very fair price. Additionally, and I did not mention this, but additionally to the $2 million as part of the land donation for the parkland, Scannell Properties is also donating another $75,000 to help with improvements to Shelter 2, as well as improvements to the trails throughout. So we felt this was more than fair, all in all.
Catherine, this is Jeff. And what is the value of the acreage that will be used, will have park access?
So we did not break that out, but give me 1 second. At the rate that they are buying it, anyone can do faster math than I can. Give me a moment. Delay. So the this property, wrong computer here. So this is 94 acres, while this is 34. So if you're looking at the same amount, I mean, this would be about $6 million worth of land that is being donated to the unified government.
Catherine, one other question. So do we have a projection of what the total tax value, the annual taxes will be once all 4 of the buildings are in and the retail development is completed?
So I have not run that purely because they're, the buildings that here are, there we go. The buildings here that are shown, that part is yet to be finalized, since really I felt it was only fair to really run the building that, we're moving forward with permits and have 100% certainty that's coming on in the next year. So this $2.2 million is just assuming this building and then the land changing from ag zoned to the industrial zone. So I don't have that. I can certainly get that for you though with what has been proposed here.
And that doesn't include the value of taxes from the retail section that'll be in the corner?
Correct.
I move to approve the sale of this land.
Walters, second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the submission as submitted. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Roll call: Bryant,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Is Bynum still sitting in for Commissioner, for the chair?
That is correct.
And Bynum?
Aye.
And so if that is the conclusion of that vote, then that item does move forward to full commission. And I will turn the committee meeting back to Commissioner Burrows.
Thank you, Commissioner McKiernan. Thank you, committee. I always believe it's very good public policy to be transparent when dealing with the public. Item number 3 is Scavuzzo's. It's an amendment to the Scavuzzo's Foodie Park Development Agreement. And again, Catherine, I believe you will be making the presentation. So please, at your convenience.
Thank you very much. Catherine Carter, Economic Development. I am actually going to only give a very brief overview of what we're looking at today, and then I'm going to turn it over to Richard Scavuzzo of Scavuzzo's and Kurt Peterson to give a brief presentation. So what is up for consideration tonight is a resolution adopting the third amendment of the Scavuzzo's Foodie Park. So this would be extending the minimum start of construction back to April of 2021. And with that, here's just kind of a reminder for everyone of what we're looking at. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Scavuzzo.
Mr. Scavuzzo, are you on?
His name.
It shows that he's on and not muted, so. Give me just a second, he signed on again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Looks like we lost him again.
Modern technology.
Mr. Scavuzzo, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I logged off my other connection, so hopefully this one will stay connected. All right. So we're here today to ask for an extension to the commencement of construction for phase 1. I wanted to take some time to give you guys a sense of the devoted efforts, time and money to this project, some of the successes that we have had, some of the barriers that we've encountered, and give you guys, the confidence that you should have that the project is going to transform Indian Springs and it will move forward. So what we've been able to accomplish so far is entitlement and permit ready of a $125 million food service center for phase 1. In the meantime, what we've been working on is putting together a team that can make this project successful. And those team members include Primus, who we've engaged with to be our general contractor. Matt Hirsch is the president of Primus, and Randy Jennings, who has 40 years of experience in construction and automation as part of that team. ViaStore is our automation partner that we are purchasing $70 million worth of cutting edge automation equipment from. Our finance team is new to the table beginning of the year. They are DLA and Associates. Dan Loyacano is the owner of that firm, and Walt Clements is new to that team in February. Walt is the former CEO of Dean Realty and really knows the marketplace. Our owner's rep will be Esky and Associates for phase 1 and for the overarching project. Dennis Esky and Aaron Merrill run that company, and they've been involved in projects such as Lenexa City Center and Prairie Fire out in Overland Park. And then the solar and renewables piece will be Ally Energy that takes the ball on that, and Erlen Rice in particular. So we've spent a lot of time putting together the right team to get this across the finish line. And the only missing piece is what we've been working on over the last few months, and that's the financing piece. We're fine-tuning this approach, this automated approach to order fulfillment to be the state-of-the-art order fulfillment facility that will not be outdone by any other automated facility in the United States. We continue to make changes and tweaks to it with the team that works on it every week, every day of every week. And so we took the philosophy, the approach to the marketplace about a month and a half ago, because one of the questions that the finance team has was, if they build it, is there a customer base out there for it? And the first 5 potential customers that we approached with the solution, we were 5 for 5. All 5 of them signed MOUs to use the facility, and these are well-established Kansas City-based companies that will benefit from this. Some of them even in Wyandotte County. It's a first in class, but it's also a first for this type of solution in the marketplace, which makes it that much harder to get across the finish line. But we are right on the edge, right on the verge of getting this across the finish line. Phase 2, so that's phase 1. Phase 2, up until COVID, we had worked very hard on the local restaurant scene and had serious plans moving forward with several restaurants, which was very encouraging. Phase 3, we had initial discussions with a hotel group that looked very promising. And phase 4 went from a single office to looking at a potential second office going on that, bringing an additional 700 employees to the campus. So those are some of the things that we had been working on over the last 9 months. The barriers that we've encountered basically all have to do with COVID. Our original finance partner was in the entertainment industry and saw an 80% reduction in revenue when COVID hit. Took financial losses and pulled out of the project because they just didn't have the finances to pull it off. We immediately changed course and got engaged with other finance sources. That was a pretty major setback because we were going to break ground well before our August 30th groundbreaking deadline. Our finance team re-engaged with the marketplace and found 2 other financing sources. One of the prerequisites that we had was we wanted someone engaged in the industry or Kansas City based, and if we can get both, even better. And that's what the team at DLA found, and who we continue to work with. We're thrilled that they're a Kansas City based partner, and we're finalizing. They are finalizing their due diligence right now. On the phase, so that's phase 1. On phase 2, when COVID hit, it hit the reset button for all new restaurant sales, and that's really what we were focused on, was restaurant pad sites for that phase 2 up along State Avenue. We are we're looking at a different path for that now, more focused around curbside to go and delivery. We are also looking at the possibility of a shared courtyard approach, so that the restaurant pads that are there could possibly have a shared courtyard for outside eating. So, and then phase 3, the hotel group, obviously people aren't building hotels right now, so that has fallen through, but we will refocus that area. And then phase 4, the second office building, that possible partner decided to stay in the other state that they were in, and lease some of the low rent office space that is available now. So very tough to deal with all the changes, but the team has put together some really good plans to deal with the changing environment post-COVID, and we're still very, very bullish on this project. It all starts with phase 1, and even with COVID, the phase 1 project, COVID really highlights the need for an automated order fulfillment center. And I think the finance team that we're bringing on understands that our solution is even more viable today than it was pre-COVID. And they're really excited about the solution that they're going to invest in. When we had now that we've had the restart on the finance front, that brings the need to ask for the extension of the construction commencement deadline. Obviously, that's why we're here today. We worked with our future finance partner on coming up with the April 30th deadline. And I know there's been some questions about why does it have to be April 30th? Why can't it be December 31st or some date before that? This was a recommendation from that finance partner, basically taking the weather of the winter out of the equation. One of the key components of this project is there is about a $30 million down payment for all the automation and racking and automation that is going into the facility. And the finance partner obviously does not want to make a $30 million investment into those down payments and then not be reassured that the development agreement is solidified. So although we plan on breaking ground well before April 30th, we need to assure them that we have until April 30th so that if weather or any other obstacles along with winter come, we have the full 8 months of available time so that their investment is solid and that they know that the development agreement and the TIF and all the incentives that we've worked through are there, and they do not have to worry about that being pulled away from the project.
Okay, Ms. Scavuzzo, is that your presentation?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Sorry, I'm trying to see about hands here.
I do not see any hands up, Commissioner.
Thank you. Catherine, would you like to make any comments?
Commissioner McKiernan has his hand up. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I make one more comment?
Yes, Mr. Scavuzzo.
One thing that our finance partner has said was before we go to full commission, they do plan on signing a letter of intent. So we would have that in hand and be able to divulge who they are before we would go into full commission.
Okay, thank you. I think that'd be very important and beneficial. Catherine, do you have any comments you'd like to make before I ask commission again?
I don't.
Thank you. Commissioner McKiernan.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrows. Mr. Scavuzzo, certainly I'd love it if it was already started, but I certainly do understand the challenges that you have already overcome and the challenges that you have yet to overcome as you work your way forward in this. At this point in time, I would be in favor of accepting the Third Amendment, moving the due date on this to allow time for Mr. Scavuzzo and his team to finalize their current plans, to wait out the winter through the construction season, and to move forward then in the spring.
Walters, second.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Before we take a vote, I do need to ask, Clerk, was there any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second to adopt the recommendation. All in favor? I will ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Roll call. Bryant.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Scavuzzo, for again investing in an area in our community that's in such dire need of new development. We thank you and we wish you the very best moving forward.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is the setting a public hearing date for the Yards Apartment TIF project plan. And this is again another action item. And I would again ask our most popular person this evening, Catherine Carter.
Thank you very much, Catherine Carter, Economic Development. This is another project that we discussed at the last Economic Development and Finance Committee meeting. At that meeting, we discussed the creation of a TIF redevelopment area. Today, we are drilling down and really just talking about the first project plan. So this is, while the TIF is a larger area, here you can see here, the TIF district that is proposed and will be considered with a public hearing at the full commission meeting on this Thursday, August 13th. That is looking at the kind of setting a boundary for the entire area, while today we are really only talking about this project area 1, which is the first phase and the apartment complex called the Yards. So I will just give a quick overview of what that is. But again, this is approving just the setting of the hearing for this project plan to move forward. So as we discussed in a previous meeting, this first plan is with the developer Flaherty and Collins. They are looking to invest about $41 million in project costs to build a first-class apartment building with about 225 to 240 units, as well as some retail space. This really complements what we are doing with the Levy project. With that, just kind of very, very brief overview, but with that, we are putting a significant amount of investment into a trail system that goes along the levee, as well as a number of different betterments, especially in this area, trailhead, some other things that will, I think, really make this a very attractive location for residents to move to KCK, as well as just something that we have not done in the past, which is actually have a focus on our riverfront development. Part of this project is building into this a river overlook, which shockingly we have something at Caw Point, but it is few and far between where there is a lovely location where you can go out with the public and actually enjoy the river. So that is all part of this. Additionally, again, first-class apartment building, first-class amenities, health and fitness center, outdoor space, in-unit washer dryer, dog park, etc. So as the project plan, if you go through that, what you see is the incentives that are being requested in Project Area 1 are a pay-as-you-go TIF. So no bonds, no debt from the unified government will be issued. There will be a public incentive cap of $11 million at no more than 23% of the total project cost. And this really does equal about 100% of the increase in property tax for the max of 20 years. The reason why I feel comfortable recommending this is because what we have seen in cities around the country, as well as here in our own metro area, is that when you stimulate residential first, then that brings a lot of additional development. So we feel really good about the idea of bringing residents to this location and having that stimulate future riverfront development. Additionally, we see the sales tax and the pilot revenues adding up to a decent benefit there, as well as, as I was mentioning before, a first time that we're really trying to leverage the Kansas River as a significant asset. And I think this will be the first of many projects that this committee and this community will see along the river as we move forward. With that, I have Ryan Cron from Flaherty and Collins if there are any questions for the developer. Otherwise, the resolution is to call a public hearing on October 29th.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee in reference to the presentation? Seeing none. I don't see any hands up.
Commissioner McKiernan has his hand up.
Oh, thank you. I do see it. Mr. McKiernan.
I managed to always time it just wrong. Thank you, Commissioner Burrows. If there are no other questions or comments from the committee, I would move that we accept this resolution for the public hearing as submitted.
Walters, second.
There's been a motion and second. Staff, was there any comments from the public this evening?
No comments submitted to the clerk's office.
Thank you. Committee, we do have a motion and a second to approve the resolution calling for a public hearing on October 29th, 2020. I would ask the clerk, please call roll.
Roll call: Bryant,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye. Thank you, committee. Catherine, thank you. But you're not off the hook yet. We do have one more presentation this evening. Item number 5, the home field development. It's at the site of the Schlitterbahn, former Schlitterbahn property. So Catherine, at your convenience.
Thank you very much. For the last time tonight, Catherine Carter, Economic Development. First, I would like to apologize. This was put on the agenda as a term sheet forthcoming. We are still working through the negotiations of the term sheet and felt that that was premature to bring to this committee. We anticipate that would be coming forward at probably the next EDNF. But we did think that this was a great opportunity to publicly discuss the project and introduce it to a wider audience and have the developers give kind of an intro on what we think is a really exciting project moving forward. So with that, I will actually turn it over to Rob Heineman with Homefield.
Mr. Heineman, welcome to committee.
He's been unmuted. He can go ahead and speak.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the committee's time this evening, and I have sent some information in advance that, I'm probably not going to go through in detail tonight, but I sent 2 things specifically to you. I sent you an overview on our business Homefield, and I'm going to talk to you about that a bit, but I wanted you to have some more detailed information that you can kind of look at in your leisure time. So you've got about a 20-page presentation on who we are as a business. And then I've sent you a site plan on the location. As you can imagine, this site plan is something that's going to be a work in progress here for the next couple of months, but I at least wanted you to have something. So, I guess to introduce myself to those of you that may not know me, my name is Rob Heineman. I'm the founder of Homefield. I also am a part owner in Sporting Kansas City, was the CEO of Sporting Kansas City for about 12 years through about 2016. And so obviously I've had a lot of experience working with you as a counterparty on both Children's Mercy Park and the Pinnacle / Compass Minerals Group training facility for U.S. Soccer. So have really enjoyed my experience with all of you out there. Feel like those have been 2 very successful projects. And having said all that, I actually think this project that we're bringing forward is as, if not more exciting than either of those 2 projects. So the site of the project is, as mentioned, is the former Schlitterbahn. So we've been fortunate enough to work with the Henry family and have all the remaining ground that the Henry family owns in Wyandotte County under contract, which is approximately 230 acres. You can see it here on the site, which comprises, what I'd call the former kind of Schlitterbahn Island, but also has a number of pad sites throughout the district. And then, some of the out parcels adjacent to Menards, and then obviously the frontage on State Avenue. So, we're excited about this. This is property that we believe is really well located. Obviously, it's in an existing district. It's in a number of existing project areas. So it's a big piece of property to bite off, but we feel pretty good about the opportunity here. Really what Homefield is, which will be the anchor and kind of the catalyst for this entire project, is it's an amateur sports, entertainment, and performance venue. And really what it is, it's in response to the amateur youth sports industry, which again, I'm going to give you some kind of pre-COVID statistics, but I think these are statistics that will hold up and maybe actually even have more upside in a COVID world. The youth sports industry today is about a $20 billion industry. It's larger than the NFL. It's the fastest growing sports segment in the United States, faster than any of the pro sports leagues themselves. It's projected to be a $75 billion industry by 2026, largely around kind of sports tourism. And the amazing thing, if for those of you that I'm sure have had kids in youth sports, it's largely done in very substandard facilities, mom and pop facilities really all over the country that don't necessarily provide a great environment for the kids themselves, and certainly don't provide a great environment for the guests like mom and dad. Those of us that have dropped a kid off at soccer, baseball, volleyball, whatever it might be, and you sit in your car for an hour and a half on your phone waiting for practice to end. And really, we think that's a paradigm that needs to change and can change as amateur sports become a bigger part of really all of our lives as parents, as kids. And so what basically we're doing is taking cues from Topgolf. If those of you that are familiar with Topgolf and that franchise, basically what they've done over the course of the last 15 years is they took a $10 bucket of balls, moved that bucket of balls into a beautiful facility with great data capture, great technology, great audio visual, and a really high-end entertainment and food and beverage experience, and have turned that into a multi-billion-dollar franchise. And we think Homefield can do that very same thing in the youth sports space. One of the things that I think we were very successful with at Sporting Kansas City, both in the past and in the current time, is setting a guest experience, really focusing on the fan experience, thinking through all the different journeys, all the different constituents, and how we can design those in such a way that it increases the experience and becomes sticky and turns something that, may not have always been a really attractive thing into a very attractive thing. I think if you talk to people that have been out to Children's Mercy Park, a lot of them say the experience is just, it feels different, it's quality, and it's something that they've continued to come back and back for, as I think, those of you that have gone out there know. So that's really what we're trying to do in this youth sports space. And we're going to focus on kind of 3 distinct verticals inside of youth sports and really creating kind of that high-end athlete experience. And that's player development. So that's, all the stuff that you would think about. It's coaching, it's technical, it's tactical, it's, providing speed, strength, and agility, all different sorts of services that allow a player to get better. We also are going to focus on health and wellness. So this won't just be about a kid coming and training. It'll also be about them getting their nutrition services, their speed, strength, and agility services, their medical services, whether that's physical therapy, recovery, whatever that might be. And then again, focusing on a really high-end entertainment experience, both for the kids, but also for the parents as well. So if you're mom or dad and you're out there on a Friday night, you've got the opportunity, if you'd like, you can grab a workout, you can get a great glass of wine, you can get, something good to eat. And we're building the spaces such that we focus on the spectators as well. In a lot of these facilities you go to, you're standing behind a net, you can't really see what's going on, there's posts in the way. And so what we're going to do is try to take kind of that whole pro experience and really bring it to amateur sports. So that's the athlete experience that I think we're trying to project, and the vision that we're trying to project is that we're going to give every athlete the opportunity to be the best that they can be. And this won't just be premier athletes. So this isn't just kids that have college and pro aspirations. This is a kid that just wants to have the opportunity to be the best that they can be. And so that's the building that we're going to be anchoring kind of this entire development. So if you look at this site plan, that's kind of building 1 on here. We anticipate that building will be about 150,000 square foot floor plate. It will have both hard court for volleyball and basketball. It'll have turf for lacrosse, 7v7 football and soccer. It'll have all those other amenities that I mentioned around speed, strength, and agility, fitness, performance, medical services. We also will have esports in this venue as well, both from a competitive standpoint, but also training as well. It's an amazing thing, but this esports space is blowing up such that it's not just about kids playing video games. It's about them training, getting better, getting college scholarships out of it. So we feel like that'll be a nice component to what we're doing out here as well. We've constructed a really high quality team around this. So, obviously my background, I've got about 20 years now involved in pro sports, both obviously with Sporting Kansas City, and then I also own a team in the G League and the NBA. So I have a lot of relationships in the basketball space as well. We brought in a gentleman by the name of Paul Rivers to be the president, who's got 20 years experience in the NBA, working for a number of different teams, both on the ops side, but on the player development side as well. And we've started hiring a lot of very high-end resources from across the country to come into Kansas City that'll operate a lot of our training and coaching services for these kids. So we're very excited about what we're doing here. In addition, to kind of the indoor spaces, there's outdoor spaces that we're going to create here that'll be a little bit different. And I'm going to just take a quick little tangent here. Home field for us is something that we believe that we can go do across the country. I can tell you today that we're working on deals in, Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, Baltimore, DC, St. Petersburg, Nashville, Dallas, Austin. So this is something that we feel we can go do across the country, but we feel like this location right here has the opportunity to be our flagship, kind of be our centerpiece. Obviously, Kansas City is near and dear to my heart. And so we feel like we can do something distinctly different here that will encompass not only kind of this daily amateur athlete, but also camps and tournaments that we can, attract to the area from all over the place and leverage the fact that, the Village West and Village East developments are both, highly additive to that tourist experience. So in this site specifically, in addition to the interior spaces, we're going to do exterior as well. Our composition here is that we believe we'll do some number of baseball fields. I think at a minimum, we'll do 8. At a maximum, we could do up to 16. And these fields will be highly, highly concentrated on environments for tournaments, for high-end scouting, and for kids of all ages. So we'll have some fields that'll be large fields for the high school kids, and college kids will also have small-sized fields for the little leaguers, where we believe we can bring in lots of, high-end tournaments around that lower age group and, allow a 10-year-old to hit a home run over a 200-foot fence. So, that's another piece that we're bringing to this. We're also going to do some outdoor spaces on the turf side. So we for sure will have one full-size fields that we'll use likely for high school football, soccer, lacrosse, anything else on kind of a turf space that we can utilize. And we also think we'll have a very symbiotic relationship with the Wyandotte Sporting Fields and Sporting Kansas City on utilizing those outdoor fields just across the road from us for camps. And we should bring more volume to them just on a year-round basis. So we're excited about kind of all those outdoor spaces. One of the other things that we're going to do here, because the site is really, good for this, is conducive for this, we're going to do a bunch of outdoor amenities, outdoor sports, whether that's water sports. Our intention is that we're going to build in the neighborhood of a 6 to 8 acre water amenity as part of this site that would allow us to host, paddleboard, dragon boat, surfing, all different sorts of water sports, and then utilizing the contour and terrain of the trees. Our guess is that we'll have sports like mountain biking, ropes courses. We are talking about karting as well. So our intention is over time that we'd have kind of a full portfolio of both outdoor and water sports that would complement what we're doing on kind of the indoor and what I call sort of the traditional sports space. So that's kind of, I guess, the catalyst anchor amenity here is home field and everything that we're doing. The thing that we're really excited about, and I should tell you, I mean, we've been working on this project now for about a year and a half. We've had a lot of great support from the staff there at the UG and from the state as well. We're anxious to bring this forward because we literally are at a point that we're knocking out letters of intent on a daily, weekly basis to bring destination retailers, additional tenants at the Auto Plaza, hotels, multifamily, grocery, food and beverage. So our expectation is that we have probably the ability to deliver almost $200 million of development here in the first 2 to 3 years of the project. We're excited about that. We think kind of the mixed use aspect of what we're doing here is going to make this a really, really vibrant site. And candidly, we feel like we've got the opportunity here over time to really create maybe what I'd call kind of the first amateur sports resort in the United States. I just think with the amount of ground that we have here, the revenue potential that we're starting to create around a lot of these partners that we're bringing to the site, and the central location of the site in this region as a draw for amateur sports, we think that this place has a ton of potential. I will tell you that it's a site that's been difficult for us to get under control. The Henry family's been patient with us on moving this forward, but we're at the point where we need to get going. We do have letters of intent, as I mentioned, on a number of different aspects to this. I think we're down to probably the couple fine points with both city and state on getting a term sheet completed. but I can't tell you enough that I believe time is of the essence here. This is something that we have, kind of financing arranged for. We've got these LOIs in place, but we've got to get going, because I do think it's something that, time kills deals, and we're a little bit on the edge of that being the case. So appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Really looking forward to when we're, formally in front of you for a vote around what we're up to. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the project.
Thank you, Mr. Heineman. Committee, any questions? Catherine, I have a question. I stated we had 5 action items tonight, but I don't see any information other than the presentation. So what action item are you asking us to take tonight?
So this is just for information only.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Any questions, comments, committee? Seeing none, Mr. Heineman, I just want to say thank you for investing again into Wyandotte County, and your kind comments in reference to staff and state and local government participation in your development. You have built first-class amenities in our community, and I anticipate this too will be a first-class amenity. We look forward to seeing that amateur sports boom in our community, and wish you nothing but the best. And I look forward to seeing the terms of the agreement to see what other items you care to put forth in this development plan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for those kind words, and I appreciate your time tonight and look forward to the next steps.
Committee, no other comments? There's no further action needed. I do want to remind the committee that when we adjourn, we do have a 7 o'clock meeting and dealing with the CARES Act funding. So please don't wander off too far. And with that, Catherine, thank you for yeoman's work this evening. You've been wonderful in giving us our news and very articulate. Appreciate that, and timely. Committee, we are finished for the evening. We are adjourned.